Hello guys, Mr. Shockwave King. Yes, we're back here once again to discuss one of the greatest fights of One Piece, not One Piece, of Hajime ippo history. The Alfredo Unstoppable Gonzales versus the Tiger of Nanua, Takeshi Sendo. Yes. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I first read the final chapters of this fight, I was questioning what happened because my entire thing is it's just like it seemed like we lost like a few chapters in between. The last chapter I tried was 1304. I didn't watch the rest of the fight until like some weeks later because of the I was working on webcomics. So just like when I first read it, I was just like, where's the rest of the fight? It's just like, why is Gonzales losing? Wait, why is this happening? So I go around the Reddit and also see some people also just like what happened, or some people don't like it. But this is my personal fight review, and an overview, and potentially an explanation of why I think this is one of the best fights in Hajime history. So number one, there was not too much build up in the fight itself. I was disappointed how like there was no major moments at the weigh-in, but that's nonetheless. And just to get into the fight right off the bat. Number one, the way that Gonzales was in the fight right off the bat, I'm gonna teach you some lessons, and make sure you remember it. I took you to school. Make sure you learn something from this. Right off the bat, Gonzales just like, this is not no game. You think you're gonna steamroll past me? You lost your mind. And Sendo just he's eating punches left and right. He's just eating them up. Now some people be like, oh, how come Sendo don't have brain damage? Where do you have brain damage? Where you get the idiotic stat? Number one, a lot of people who fight like Sendo will fight more defensively than Sendo and end up worse off than Sendo. But when the first Sendo himself, he didn't start fighting retarded with Jose Nargo. From the very beginning, when he first showed up in the anime and manga, it was discussed when he was on a 6-fight win streak that his guard was always weak, or he barely used a guard right off the bat. So not like there's some type of new thing where Sendo does not have a high guard. You can see just how Sendo eventually just by after eating all these punches, he just eating punches to round in, and he's just like, shit, I gotta go out there and do something. I gotta go do something. Let's do it. And just like eventually like, after getting hit by Gonzales, it's like so many times he's just like, he stops the punch, he's able to parry it. It's just like, this is sad. I didn't come here to fight you. I came here to fight the man who fought Makunouchi. Just constantly pushing at Alfredo Gonzales. I love this fight. And what too many love this fight, I had to reread the chapters. Cause like, I was confused. People on the Reddit was confused. I was just like, how did it get to this? And then I reread the chapters from the very first chapter. I reread the weigh-in chapters, and the fight is beautiful. The fight is excellent. Number one, Sendo started to turn the fight around by stepping in. For some reason through the entire fight, he was not stepping in yet. But when he started to slightly step in with Alfredo Gonzales' jab, because Alfredo Gonzales' jab does have variations, but to a certain degree, it is telegraphed to a certain point. And since it is telegraphed to a certain point, Sendo can get used to it. He can use his wild instinct to slowly get better. But the thing is, when Sendo started to pressure Gonzales into the corner, when he started to show that this is not no game, where is the man who killed Makunouchi? Where is the man who ended Makunouchi's career? Where is that Alfredo Gonzales? Who is this coward before me? When he started pushing at Gonzales, it started at the beginning of Gonzales' downfall. And the reason I said it is, it goes back to what I was saying before the fight even started. Alfredo Gonzales in his mystical form is not that hard to beat at all. And the reason I said it is, look up the fight against Ippo, a damaged Ippo, some people like to call him. As soon as Ippo started fighting back up a certain point, Alfredo Gonzales forgot all about him being in mixer mode, and he just started fighting regular again. And you can see that mixer mode is not a reliable source to go into. It's not. Some people might think it is, but by kind of his boxing skill and everything else, he was beating Sendo. He was powering the Sendo. Sendo was spewing blood everywhere. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Now he was at a point, but just like against Ippo, when Sendo started to change up his punches, when Sendo started to change the angle and everything else, Gonzales, we got hit in the similar places. He was like, this fucker, and they clashed heads. He's like, what? We gotta fight, Billy. We gotta fight. Let's go. We gotta fight. And for those people who just don't like the fight at all, the thing I can explain to you is, please rewatch the fight overall. Like, I understand by watching it in pieces, it may change your mind and opinion. When you watch the fight all together, it all makes sense to you. Because one of the key reasons some people bring up that why did Freddy Gonzales stop using his footwork? Why did he do that? Well, around the chapters, I think it's like 1303 or 1303. Freddy Gonzales' coach is just like, you got two options. You can back up and use your footwork and hunt this tiger from far away, or you can stay up close and destroy him and wring its neck. And you can see Freddy Gonzales in the immediate following pages, around page 5. He literally says, I can't hunt a tiger unless I go into the tiger's den. Freddy Gonzales chose to throw away his footwork to face Sendo man to man. So those people asking, oh, why did he stop using his footwork? That's why he stopped using his footwork. Sendo didn't. Now, sure, you can partially blame it on the solar plexus, but Sendo just didn't take away his legs. Freddy Gonzales still chose not to use his legs. Even then, when you rewatch the fight, even then when he stopped using his legs, he was still getting better hits off on Sendo. But the key problem is, you don't get into a exchange with Sendo. Sendo has always had better punching power and better endurance. And the reason I say Sendo has ever had better endurance, he took a Dempsey roll right off the bat by Ippo. Right off the bat, nobody else have done this. He's the only character to date to take 2 Dempsey rolls to put down. The only one. And the second time wasn't even just a regular Dempsey roll. It was a complete Dempsey roll combination. Liver blow, feint, gazelle punch, and that final dip. And even after that, after all that, Sendo still was able to get back on his feet temporarily before he just collapsed from exhaustion. Cause like, we truly just look at the fight chapter by chapter. I could understand how people can say it just came out of nowhere and Freddy Gonzales started to lose for no reason. But we're not gonna act like that Freddy Gonzales had good endurance. When he was rocked once by Sendo, he was halfway on life support. And when he started trading, not Sendo, by Ippo, and then when he started trading with Ippo back to back, he actually started to lose. I'm saying, I know some people would be like, why did Freddy Gonzales punches? How come at first he wasn't doing nothing to Freddy Gonzales, but then out of nowhere he seemed to feel? Number one, I think it's like chapter like 1302. You need to reread the chapters. I'm not saying that you haven't, but I think it might have been a while since you read the fight entirely. But when you read the chapters, Freddy Gonzales says when he was still pounding Sendo's face in before it turned into an exchange fight, that one swift punch from an empty punch to Sendo was making him dizzy and lightheaded. One punch for him to start fearing Sendo punches later on. That slowly became from Sendo's tactics overall. Eventually, slowly, Freddy Gonzales realized his punches were not doing anything. And he actually got played into throwing that counter by Sendo. Sendo wanted that counter. He wanted to face the man that fought Monkey Richie. And the thing is, another thing, some people be like, oh, he's just like, well, why is another reason he lost? Number one, through his entire fight, he was not even focused about going against Gonzales. And somebody be like, oh, why? It's pretty simple. When Freddy Gonzales was going against Ippo, the main thing he kept on saying was Ippo was never going to make it to the world stage. He does not have what it takes. And when we get into the ring, I want to show you what it's like to fight in the world stage, because he's never make it to Ricardo Martinez. And him taking that right counter wasn't out of nowhere. It's just the fact that Freddy Gonzales had gas in the tank and Ippo did not. At all. From all the accumulated damage, Ippo was not going too much further than that. That's all he had. That's all he got. So for Sendo to get hit by this right counter and to keep going, it's no surprise to me. On top of that, besides from Freddy Gonzales starting to fear the punching power, because the thing is, another reason he started to fear the punching power is he knew when he would have threw that counter, Sendo would have just hit him with that right anyway, because that's what he was looking for the entire time. I'm sorry, if you believe that Freddy Gonzales can take a full-fledged right, a full-on chopping right from Sendo and still stand up, I don't know what to tell you. Because not like Freddy Gonzales had this unstoppable endurance. To a certain degree, Freddy Gonzales is a glass cannon. I'm sorry. You're looking at the number one fanboy for Freddy Gonzales. Freddy Gonzales, to me, is Ippo still to this day his best fight. It was the best version of Ippo. It was one of my favorite versions of Freddy Gonzales. The thing is, the fact that, number one, in the middle of the fight, he actually lost his goal. I think it was like in it was right after he got hit in the shoulder plexus by Sendo. When his coach bring up, he's just like, you know, look, he's on his last legs. If you go in there and finish him right now, you'll be able to take him out of here and fight Ricardo. Yeah, Ricardo, you know, the match after this. Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. I was having way too much fun. And these are his words exactly, pretty much. Go reread the chapter. I'm not joking with you. This is not a game. This is not something I'm making up. Alfredo Gonzales, cause like some people say, oh, his retirement just came out of nowhere. No, not really. Cause after this, since Alfredo Gonzales has been chasing Ricardo Martinez all this time, if you're not able to fight him again, what's the point of even fighting anymore? Because he's been chasing Ricardo ever since he lost the second time. He fought Ippo, it didn't happen. And apparently after he fought Ippo, it was actually, he was supposed to face Ricardo Martinez, and Ricardo Martinez was just like, and that's not going to happen with Jimmy. So I guess it was written, but the legalities of all this is not my problem. So I'm pretty sure Ippo would have won, Ricardo would have fought him, but since it was Alfredo Gonzales, I want to beat up on Gonzales again. And the thing is, Alfredo Gonzales have not changed really, because mixer mode is still mixer mode. He could still be knocked out of mixer mode. It's not like he go in mixer mode, he's unstoppable. For those people just saying that, it's question. I thought he started losing out of nowhere also, the first time. Instead I reread them chapters and everything changed, right? I was able to understand after that. Because after that, it made total sense of how eventually Alfredo Gonzales would lose. Because number one, there's a rare few people who could take a full-on smash from Sendo, and Alfredo Gonzales is sadly not one of them. I'm sorry, I love Gonzales like everybody else, but taking a full-on smash from Sendo is not no lightweight thing. You get it busted in your jaw. And not cool in the fact, by the fewer changes they were doing, since Sendo had so much punching power, Alfredo Gonzales was getting broken down from that. Alfredo Gonzales chose to throw away his footwork to hunt the tiger personally. Any type of fault you want to have about the fight is directly put on Alfredo Gonzales. It's not Sendo's fault. It's not Morikawa's fault. It's nobody else's fault besides from his own. But to act like it's just, Alfredo Gonzales just lost for no reason, in my opinion, is BS. Because he was solely broken down mentally and physically, which is explained in the next chapter by Ippo, and eventually he just lost. And not being able to fight Ricardo Martinez for a third time. What goals did Alfredo Gonzales have after that? None. He didn't want to fight anybody else. He didn't want to go after any other champion. He was inspired by Ricardo Martinez as a child, and that was his world champion. That was his undisputed man. So to see not go against him again, and for him to retire, sure, it wasn't built up upon, but it was slightly implied that just, if you've been chasing this man for this long, and you had a career as long as Freddy Gonzales, because we don't even know how old Gonzales is. But it's just after that point, you can't fight him one more last time, then it's just, what's the point? Now, will Alf become a trainer? I say maybe in his later years, when the kids grew up, who was watching the fight with his wife Lisa. But right off the bat, nah, I think it's done for Freddy Gonzales. Some people might say it's a useless retirement, but who is the Freddy Gonzales going to fight after that? No, there's no other character on the same tier of Freddy Gonzales currently. And there's no point of a second fight with a Freddy Gonzales with Ippo, because what would that prove? He's already been beaten. I'm sorry, I don't want to go against a lack of will version of a Freddy Gonzales, or just have a Freddy Gonzales get turned into some type of journeyman. Hey, look, you gotta fight this person to prove you're strong enough. No, it's pretty much over. And I couldn't fact that how Freddy Gonzales noticed that him and Sendo was the same breed of animal. The exact same thing. It was I'm glad I did that picture of what happens when a Mexican death god goes against a Mexican killer tiger from Naniwa. And that's exactly pretty much what happened in my opinion. And it's just, I love the fight. Because when you really watch it and we look at it, the fight is excellent. The fight is great. And I didn't think about this because I was questioning, like, it's like I was missing some chapters. But you look at it, Alfredo Gonzales chose to stop using his footwork. You look at it, Alfredo Gonzales was beat mentally and physically. It's just everything that happened with Gonzales, he basically walked into. Honestly, if he would never saw Sendo's punching power as a threat, if he would never got hit by all them dual exchanges, he never really saw the actual power of Sendo. And I'm cool in the fact, I don't see how he didn't feel Sendo's hand breaking against his forehead. So he should have known that right cross, or that right he was going to throw was going to be a fake out anyway. But nope, Sendo's still throwing punches with a broken head. So I guess it really is hard to know Sendo now because he's pulling off the ippo. So Overall, I think the fight was fantastic, and I think it's a word. Cause when I saw that Freddy Gonzales can get retired, I was like, no, they sort of knock out Gonzales, but you also retired him. I wasn't mad. I honestly wasn't mad, and that's before I looked at the fact that he had no goal after that. When I was just my first initial reaction, why I thought the fight ended too quickly, I was still like watching Freddy Gonzales retire was a good thing in my opinion. That's the way I view it. It's just there was no real goal after that, and I'd rather see him retire than get turned into some type of journeyman for Ayami or Tagaki. I'd rather have that happen. But overall, I enjoyed the fight. I got what I delivered. I would have paid pay-per-view for this entire ordeal, and it's just I got the fight I wanted. Because a lot of things, like, I don't know, I think a lot of people just see some type of meathead with no brain. He actually does have brains to a point. He is a genius inspired by instinct. But I don't think a lot of fan base see him like that. It's just like, I don't see why people hate Wally either. What do you hate Wally for? Why? I didn't have a problem with that fight, and it's just to see a fighter with that much potential early on is not surprising. But to say that he'll be going against Ricardo Martinez as a challenger, this is Miguel's last son. I don't think he would set his last son up for murder like that unprepared. I don't care how good he did against Vorg. Vorg would have still beat him. So he did call Ippo on the phone from New York. Yeah, he got me. But it's not like, oh, he got me, he's going to defeat me. That's not what Vorg was like. But now the cool effect, are we talking about the exact same Ippo? The exact same Ippo who's always had a problem with finding the range. Now, I understand you want to get mad over Ippo getting beaten up by somebody that young. I can understand that, but to act like just Wally is just a bad character, maybe it's just me. Because I went up to Reddit, because I was like looking at those guys seeing their opinions about the post-Hajime Ippo thing, and it's just like people are just really mad and just want to see Wally get destroyed for some reason. Wally's not ready yet. And there's like some people just throwing off Guevara. Guevara got Ippo. Number one, Guevara knocked out Malcolm Gretto like it was nothing. That was a cakewalk for him. And it seemed to be the actual opponent. The thing is, we never did see the rest of the weigh-in with Ricardo Martinez. We saw Ricardo Martinez show up, but we never did see who his opponent was. So, if it is Antonio Guevara, I understand that. If it is, because like some people be like, oh, Miyata's just like, my featherweight rings are fading away, and he's gonna move on. What did he say that he was gonna move up a weight class? Never did say that. But like Sendo was saying to Takamura, he just stopped waiting for Ippo and could continue his career, and that's what, in my opinion, he planned on doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's basically my thoughts on the entire Alfredo Gonzales versus Takeshi Sendo fight. The fight is excellent, and if you do think it's bad, please rewatch the fight. And if you still think it's bad after that, then I don't know what to tell you. Then I'm glad that you have your own personal opinion, and I hope you enjoy that. But in my opinion, the fight was great. But it's just that whole Wally hate thing. It just really, like, even for characters I hate, I wouldn't just want to set them up for characters they're not ready for. Cause then what's the point? The beating is not satisfying. You're beating up on a person who can't even fight back properly. How is that fun? It's just like seeing Frieza go against that retarded Super Brawler. Hey, look, you get what you deserve. But he was putting up a better fight than Goku Vegeta did tag teaming him. And that's sad. That's by himself. We're not gonna get in that. There's gonna be some serious rage. But yeah, boys and girls, that's been basically just well, guys, that's basically been my review of the fight. I think the fight is excellent. I think the fight is just fantastic. It's everything I would have wanted from Sendo versus Gonzales. Perfect beginning, perfect ending, and it's just like, even to the very last moments, Alfredo Gonzales still had everything in the ballpark. If he would have never thought he won against Sendo with that last duel exchange, he probably would have won. It would have took more precautions. But no, he thought that right kind of will put down Sendo just like I put Ippo. Another thing, Sendo has always had better endurance. Oh, how can he ever end up punch drunk? Because after that second fight with Ippo, when he got his ribs broken, he didn't fight in like over a year. What, Ippo fought who? Sawanada, Hammer Now. He fought Sambukuru. And it was only after that, he actually saw Sendo get back into the ring. He just got out of rehab. And he had that much time to work off his accumulated damage. And now the cool effect that most of Sendo's fights end up in first round KO. Are you serious? Serious. But yeah, guys, it was your boy Mr. Shockwave King. Hope you enjoyed the video. Yes, I guess I'm officially back. I've returned. And also check out my webcomic, Sam in the Tire Razor. Episode 3 Part 1. Part 1, Part 2 is out now. Link in the description. It should be in the intro also. It might be in the intro also for this video. Yeah, that's been my fight review. Takeshi Sendo versus Alfredo Gonzales. Did you like the fight? Did you hate the fight? Did you understand the things I was saying, or did you still think the fight is garbage? Boom Shockwave King, and peace.